Can you imagine being so good at what you do that advertisers use the numerical count of your film as part of your trailers? Just wait until his 10th film comes out. The trailer for that will have fireworks shooting out of the bras of every model and a parade thrown for the red carpet ceremony where they help the homeless stay warm by throwing them on piles of burning money. For good reason, obviously. Quentin Tarantino is among the best Hollywood directors in the world and is known as the king of dialogue. If I do have reservations about this film, the first would have to be the emphasis on nostalgia. Tarantino made this film to appease his friends and colleagues like a 35-year-old neckbeard sacrifices goats in their bank accounts to keep suckling on Nintendo's drooping tits. In fact, most of the film's near 3-hour runtime is dedicated to unnecessarily long setup shots for extra scenes of scenery to reminisce about the good old days. All in service of making this film one long yearbook to look back at the positives while also ignoring the issues of the time, like the terrible fashion choices of jeans so tight that they would inspire future generations to castrate themselves with even tighter pairs of jeans. Oh, and can't forget about the rampant pedophilia. Perhaps the other issue I have is the perceived lack of style. All the technicalities are executed with a razor's edge like acting, camera work, costumes, set design, etc., but there is a distinct lack of Tarantinoisms. While I understand this isn't meant to be over-stylized like someone deciding to remake Doom as an interpretive Broadway dance, the film is still more restrained than Batman if he woke up one day and realized it was actually he who was an inmate of Arkham Asylum. The effects guy who Tarantino buys his swimming pools of blood from must think he's been lobotomized after getting this call. And the swear jar feels a bit light here, but so does the writing. Take The Hateful Eight, for example. The film draws you in with dialogue where entire scenes hold your attention by building tension between characters with writing that feels like it was ripped straight out of a book. While something like Kill Bill, for example, had people getting opened up with a sword and spraying blood everywhere like you shook up a can of Coca-Cola and stuffed a package of Mentos into it. And this point is more of a personal gripe rather than a critique. There is shockingly little for Charles Manson to do, let alone say in this film. As skilled as Tarantino is at writing, I looked forward to the dialogue he could give Manson. Perhaps a scene or two dedicated to showing how he could control people with his words like he was Zebediah Kilgrave. But he's in the film for 5 seconds, then fucks off faster than the integrity of your bowels after a night at Taco Bell if your Baja Blast was spiked with laxatives. There is also the matter that Margot Robbie has surprisingly little to do here, and it seems like she was hired on just for the extra paycheck for all the contributions she made. Every one of her scenes is either her dancing and throwing her hands up in the air like she just don't care, or enjoying the daily life of importing books, wearing silly clothes, and vacuuming the ashes of the incinerated homeless. While Once Upon a Time in Hollywood may be one of Tarantino's weaker films, that doesn't mean that it isn't a good film. As mentioned before, the acting is top-notch and DiCaprio hams it up in many scenes in just the right way. The humor is as straight and dry as a dildo with 40 grit sandpaper wrapped around it. I'm sure Hollywood appreciated the retro dress-up like it was the 1960s at the local retirement home. The Bruce Lee scene had me laughing the whole way through it, and Tarantino's liberties taken with history lead to a climax that is a fucking joy to watch. Now it's time to move on to a franchise that has somehow survived longer than its main star, and has ramped up from Initial D to Fooly Cooley.